Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls and children of all ages, this is Justin the Wrestling Classic here with Danny. What do you want to be called, Danny B?
Oh, just call me Danny. I'm good.
With just Danny. We're doing just Danny, guys.
Just Danny. I'm gonna change my Instagram handle to Just Danny. That's what,
It's Justin the Wrestling Classic and just Danny.
just plain old Danny, bro. That's me.
And we're gonna talk wrestling for the next little bit here, and that should be the intro.
Bro, I was fine with that. We could have just ran with that as the intro.
We could have. We're running right now. The show's on, buddy. It's showtime, folks.
That's right.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and gentlemen of all ages, it is the Wrestling Classic. Justin, I am here with Just Danny. He doesn't want a name. You guys know me as Justin. More of you know me as the Wrestling Classic, but I want you guys to get to know me as Justin more. And this is the brand new podcast coming from us from two different parts of the world.
Florida,
Circle,
Canada.
Squared Circle DNA. Squared Circle DNA. I was trying to pause to let it drop.
I like it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, huh? I was supposed to drop one of these at the end, but we'll drop one now. But this podcast is going to be about everything in general, but nothing in specific.
That's a great summary. I like it.
That's literally what it's going to be about. Obviously it's about wrestling and it's always going to be about wrestling, but we're not going to stick to like a single topic all the time. Like 1 week it might be about what's happening in professional wrestling. Honestly, if the shows are really bad this week, we'll talk about something that we grew up watching because we're lifelong fans, man.
Yeah, why not? Like that's what the Square Circle DNA is about, man. It's in us. It's inside of us. You know what I mean?
The DNA of professional wrestling is in our blood, and you know what? Let's first properly introduce each other. My name's Justin.
Hi, Justin.
I'm from Vancouver, BC, Canada. A lot of you might not have known that, but a lot of you might have. I'm a Canadian, and I'm the sole owner, founder, content creator, content stealer of the Wrestling Classic, and I've built quite a reputation over that, and I appreciate everyone's support. I talk about how much I appreciate all of you guys supporting it because I have the opportunities I have I wouldn't have without all of you. But if you know what it is, you know what it is. If you don't, go check out the Wrestling Classic on Instagram. Check out thewrestlingclassic.com, and now start listening to the Squared Circle DNA podcast. I've been a wrestling fan my entire life. I'm only I'm in my 20s. We'll leave it at that. And
late 20s.
I got a beard, and I'm Indian, and I'm born in Canada though, so I'm an Indo-Canadian. And I really want to be able to connect with you guys more. So I thought a podcast is something I've tried before. Some of you guys have been following me since 2014 when I started the Wrestling Classic, have listened to them, and I appreciate that. I've had the pleasure of interviewing the likes of, independent wrestlers from like locally here in ECCW, from like Scotty Mack and El Phantasmo, who's wrestling out in England right now for RPW and stuff, and Artemis Spencer, Nicole Matthews, and a lot of cool talent from around me, as well as talent that's from around me, like the Singh brothers, who formerly known as the Bollywood Boys. I did that when I briefly had a podcast. I did a one-off with Heath Slater, which was really cool for me, the one-man band. And then if you've seen me on YouTube and stuff doing the interviews with Jinder Mahal and Sheamus and Rikishi, and I'm doing a live stream with Sean Mooney tomorrow. So all of that, I'm trying to interact with you guys more. I'm trying to get out there more, and I'm trying to give you guys more content, as much content as I can. So that's really another huge part of me doing this podcast. But I'm gonna let Danny introduce himself now.
Hi, I'm just Danny.
He's just Danny.
So you guys got to give me a nickname. How about that?
Well,
let's do that.
I guess once they get to know you, they can give you a nickname. But you're just Danny. I think that guy in the late '90s. What was his name? Just Joe.
Yeah. Just Joe.
That guy that showed up in the backstage segment, and his name was Just Joe, and then he had zero relevance at all, I think.
Oh, man.
Then he was Danny. Tell us about yourself. What is your history?
Yeah, so, right? So, I mean, I guess my biggest claim to fame was my very first company, website, whatever you want to call it, was Wrestle Access, where I did kind of bite off WrestleMania Access. I was trying to get like the cheap pop, like when people would Google search you and you go, oh, hey, look at what is this? And you just go to my website. But Yeah, my biggest claim to fame was I was the first person to ever interview the Headbangers outside of WWF together, because Chaz, better known as Mosh, did the RF shoot video, but Glenn was not there. So I was the first person to do that, and kind of developed a friendship, which was pretty cool. I drove over to Coral Springs and Fort Lauderdale and the east coast of Florida, and I recorded some of their matches. We recorded them calling out Air Boom. That's how long ago this was. They got like 78,000 views overnight, which is pretty sweet. It's still up there on YouTube if you search Wrestle Access. Just that was my biggest thing. I've been able to interview some older guys, Shad Gaspard, Kevin Kelly, which I completely bombed. Was not ready for that at all. Kevin Kelly kind of...
What happened with Kevin Kelly?
So my esteemed co-host at the time said, yeah, I'll take care of everything. I'll write down the questions. I feel like I might be more comfortable because I'm from the same area as him, so we might have that common ground. I was like, okay, cool. I'll be the color commentator. I'll be Jerry Lawler for this episode. I'm cool with that. And then he no-showed me. And I'm not even kidding you. I'm sitting on my couch in the apartment. I got Skype open. All of a sudden, incoming call from Kevin Kelly, and I'm like, oh, crap. So I answer.
That's the most awkward feeling, because like now I have to do this. Like there's no, I'm busy today. Like I'm gonna try to get out of this. It's like, my co-host didn't show up. Like you had to make it happen. Mostly when you already had the momentum going, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm sitting there, and this is my fourth interview, I guess technically. I had done Jimmy Corderas, like I said, Shad Gaspard. And then Kevin Kelly. I did Kevin Kelly before I did the Headbangers. But I'm sitting on the couch, and like no joke, as I see that pop up on my Skype, like my armpits start sweating. I got sweat pouring from my forehead. I'm like, what is happening to me? Like I'm so unprepared. And he was still. This is when Ring of Honor was starting to get real good traction on the internet and stuff. And I'm like, oh crap. So he's like, man, like everything he's saying, I'm just agreeing with him. It's like trying to be nice, trying to be cordial, trying to get it rolling and just keep it smooth and flowing. He's like, man, I feel like I'm talking to myself here, because everything I'm saying, you're just like, yeah, it's good. Yeah, it sounds great. And I don't even have the audio anymore, which kind of sucks.
That would have been fun to like listen to.
Yeah, because I would have uploaded it to like my YouTube or Instagram or whatever. But yeah, I don't like. I did Zach Gowen after that, which is pretty cool. Jeremiah Riggs from Tough Enough. I don't know if you remember him.
I kind of do. Jeremiah sounds familiar.
Yeah. And then my biggest thing that I never did is that I had lined Paul Bearer up for the interview just a handful of days before he passed away.
Which is unfortunate, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
it's a situation of, though, it's a doing and learning process, which I think a lot of people aren't used to. Like things aren't always going to be great the first time. You're going to make some mistakes, and you're going to get these opportunities, and you're going to not shut the door on the opportunity. You're going to take it, and sometimes it doesn't end up exactly how you pictured it. For example, like I told you the story about when we went to go do the live Q&A with Jinder Mahal at the gym when they were here in Vancouver, and I brought a camera guy with me who had a camera, and the whole idea was to live stream it so the fans could ask him questions and he could answer it while they could see him working out, which was cool in what we did. But at the same time, I expected my camera guy to pull out his camera and start recording, and I was so like lost in my brain trying to make sure this worked out well, and I was reading the questions, and I had my Instagram working fine. The battery wasn't going to die or anything on my phone, which I'm notorious for my battery always dying at the worst times.
I see your story.
Yeah, my battery is always dying at the worst fucking times. Like I'll be like in the highlight, like, oh, I'm gonna get this picture with this person. I'm like, oh, my phone's dead. But then even I'll have like a Mophie case, like a portable charger, and that's always dead too. I don't know. It's just I'm bad with phone batteries. But my camera guy never pulled out his camera and recorded the whole thing. So it wasn't until after we left and we said our goodbyes to Jinder and we took our pictures and stuff. I'm like, okay, now I gotta throw this up on YouTube. I'm like, oh, why did we just record it on our phones? Like, what did anyone we had a camera guy and he never pulled out his camera, but that's one of those you live and you learn things, because the next time when I had a big interview that wasn't a live stream like I did with Rikishi or something, like when I was actually interviewing someone again in person who ended up being Sheamus, like I made sure I had a whole camera crew. So just like that, this podcast might start off a little rocky, but we're learning as we go. As much as we say we have experience, I guess I've interviewed wrestlers and I've been able to do live streams on Instagram and interview Jinder Mahal and Sheamus and have these great conversations with people. And just like you've been able to interview Kevin Kelly and Shad Gaspard and the Headbangers and, everyone else you've been able to interview, like, we're still new at this. This is still new to us. This first episode is totally new to us. And the biggest thing we're trying to achieve here is, one, personally, as a selfish thing, is I want to be able to connect with my following a bit more. And it's easier to have someone to do a podcast with than talking by myself. And two, Squared Circle DNA, man. We want to bring wrestling fans together and talk about things from a wrestling fan's perspective. And I know what people might think. They'd be like, well, there's a lot of those podcasts where fans have podcasts and they talk about wrestling and they talk about these things. We're going to try to do it in a way that we make you really see both sides of every scenario, and in a way that really is the same way I talk about things on my page, and the same way I try to state my opinions very clearly, and I tell you how I feel, but at the same time I'm very honest about my opinions and how I feel as well. And you never know, every once in a while we might surprise you guys with a guest that you wouldn't expect.
Never know.
You never know.
You'll just have to keep listening.
Exactly. One of the Kevin Kelly might return one of these days.
And I might not agree with everything.
Yeah, it might be a different scenario. I don't know. Maybe. You never know. But yeah, so I know consistency, the more we do these, the more hopefully you guys will listen to them and stuff. And it's gonna be a cool adventure, I think. It's gonna be cool. And Squared Circle DNA is like I when we had to come up with a name, I was set on it right away. You were like, what else? I'm like, no, I think Squared Circle DNA is what we're going to go with.
Right. I mean, it works, man. It sums it all up. That's what we are. That's what all wrestling fans are, man, is in us. It's part of us being a wrestling fan.
It's for me, it's also like a huge fact of, wrestling fans are passionate. We have opinions, and on my page alone, I've seen people debate and argue and really get heated about their opinions and values about wrestling, what they believe in, who they think the GOAT is, which could be an episode. Who is the actual GOAT? I have a very strong opinion about who the actual GOAT in professional wrestling is. When people argue about who should be on their Mount Rushmore for professional wrestling, that could be a whole episode right there, actually.
Absolutely.
The Mount Rushmore for wrestling. But at the same time, like, that's the fact that I see people get so heated and so passionate about who should be on the Mount Rushmore and who is the GOAT, it's because they have that Squared Circle DNA within them.
That's right.
And that's what this is about. And we want to continue to share that. Like, my page is bringing that Square Circle DNA up. I want to bring the wrestling fan out of everyone, whether they're old fans, new fans, they used to watch, they don't watch anymore. They just started watching it again because their kid watches, or they started watching again because of my page. I want to be the voice for those people, and this podcast is going to be the voice for those people. And I read your guys' comments, I hear your guys' opinions. So, and when I say, like, I might ignore a lot of the comments when they're negative and stuff, but I read every single comment. So I'm talking from the perspective of myself, obviously, but I'm also understanding where you all are coming from, and I will talk about where you guys are coming from. I will talk about, hey, on my page there's a couple of people that said this and this. They might have a point there, or do they?
Right.
What about you, Danny? What does this mean for you?
This means everything that you said. Honestly, like, it really does. And I'm not trying to Kevin Kelly you here, because
I agree.
Like to me, like I said, man, to me, it's about bringing everybody together. It's about being, because like we still, as wrestling fans, that's why you call us misfits. We still have that kind of outcast look. Like, I don't know and none of my friends, I have a couple friends that live down here, but the majority of people I'm friends with don't watch wrestling anymore. And I always get that same question. Oh, you still watch that? You damn right.
And it doesn't get the same appreciation. And we've had this conversation off the year, and I'm like, I've been fortunate enough to be a wrestling fan that always got accepted for being a wrestling fan. And maybe it's because I have this really strong tolerance of not getting offended or annoyed by things. Like, I don't get offended. Like, you could be making fun of me and I will start laughing with you. I've always just kind of had that personality. Well, don't get me wrong, it does depend on my mood. If I'm in a bad mood, I get annoyed real fast. But most of the time I'm a happy-go-lucky guy, and I don't really give a fuck if you. I don't know if we're swearing on here, but we are now. If someone is pushing jokes about me, I just throw them back. And I've always been accepted as a wrestling fan, but I've even had the times where I would be walking around, when I was in university and stuff, I'd be walking around campus and I'd see someone in a CM Punk shirt, and I'm like, that's kind of a weird place to be wearing a CM Punk shirt. But at the same time, I'm like, you know what? You do you, man. You rock that CM Punk shirt. Like, we shouldn't be ashamed of wearing wrestling T-shirts out in public because we get pointed out as a wrestling fan. I think that shouldn't be something that we should be ashamed of. Do people get ashamed when they walk outside and they're wearing their favorite football team's jersey? Hell,
yes, I'm a Lions fan.
Basketball and football is so bad that, like, you could be wearing, like, the college team's jerseys and that's still normal. Yeah. If you wear, like, a minor league wrestling person shirt that nobody knew about, like, people look at you funny. Like, I think there is still a little bit of a lack of appreciation for professional wrestling, and I think it's also that confusion of, is it a sport or is it professional wrestling? Dude, that's another whole episode right there.
we're guys, what you're doing, I hope you're taking notes, is we're giving you bullets on what to. These are our next episodes. This is already scheduled. Is wrestling a sport or is it entertainment? I know it's sports entertainment, and I already know what my argument's gonna be when we do talk about it. I exactly know what my argument's gonna be. I want to talk about it right now, but I'm gonna hold back. But that's what this is about. It's to, and I'm like, there's so many podcasts out there. And obviously, why would you want to listen to us over something to wrestle or the Eric Bischoff podcast? Like, we don't have the inside scoops in professional wrestling. This isn't, Dave Meltzer talking to Wade Keller or something. We're not. We're gonna talk about the news, but I'm not here to spread rumors and gossip and act like I know everything. The best thing about this is I don't know everything. I'm just like you guys. I just want to talk about wrestling. Yeah, I'm going to talk about wrestling, and, like, my biggest thing for wrestling, and I told you this the other day when we were talking, I was like, for me, like, I love professional wrestling. It's been my entire life. I'm about to be 32 years old. See, I'm not afraid to give my actual age there, Justin. But, yeah. like everything about wrestling, like, I don't want to say I hate it because I still go on them. I am not a fan of dirt sheets. I don't like the stuff that brings it down and gives us that negative connotation of wrestling. I want to build it up. I want to build up the fans. I want to build up the industry, because why would I want to bring something down that has meant so much to me?
I want to make wrestling cool again. I want it where it's like when I was a kid in the late 90s, everybody who you wouldn't even expect to be a wrestling fan was wearing a Stone Cold Austin 316 shirt and NWO shirt. Everybody knew who the NWO was. Everybody knew who Stone Cold was. The Rock is as famous as he is because he was still a part of professional wrestling when it was at a really, it was pop culture at that time. I don't think single-handedly we can make wrestling that big again. I've tried really hard to make it a little bit more popular with my page, but doing stuff like this podcast, getting people to support it, we can make wrestling. Not that's not cool. It is super cool for us wrestling fans, but I want people to see it from a perspective where, like, in a positive way, like, hey, when you talk to someone that's not a wrestling fan, you get all the negative stuff. You get the, it's scripted, it's fake. Oh, like, they're all roided, they're all juice monkeys, they're all on steroids and stuff. Oh, you like watching men wrestle in underwear. Like, I want to get rid of all of that. I want to get rid of I don't want to talk to someone about wrestling. The first thing they bring up is, Chris Benoit.
That's not right. Yeah.
I don't want to talk about wrestling. The first thing someone brings up is, like, I don't know. This is so much negative stuff about wrestling, and you go on social media and there's so many people being negative about it. Even the fans themselves are being negative about it, and I've always taken pride of not being negative about it. I'll never say the words, I'm never going to watch again. Oh, I'm not going to watch WWE anymore. I am a hardcore loyal professional wrestling fan, die hard since I was, I want to say 4 years old, because that's my first memory of seeing it. But that's never going to change, and I know that. So instead of trying to trash it, I want it to be better. And if I want it to be better, make it better. Right? Like, you know, it's like that Michael Jackson song, you know?
Yeah, you're right.
Man in the mirror. Be the change you want to see.
Like my biggest thing is what I've noticed with internet. I don't want to just say internet fans, because we're internet fans at the end of the day too. But
there's good ones and there's bad ones.
Right. But like what I've noticed about a lot of wrestling fans is like wrestling fans like to complain about what they didn't get instead of appreciating what we got. You know what I mean? Like, if you look back and they go, oh, you know, that the Attitude Era was great and the golden era. Bro, the golden years, bro, we never got Jake as a champion. We never got Ted DiBiase as a champion. We never got Mr. Perfect. We never got Scott. We never got so many big guys. And you go, well, this is kind of the same trend. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, appreciate what we got, guys.
Just appreciate what's happening in front of you. It's like a perfect example today in my live stream. Someone asked me about the greatest Royal Rumble, and they're like, what'd you think about it? I'm like, I enjoyed it. They're like, but it sucked. I'm like, I didn't go in there expecting it to be a huge show. I'm like, I know they hyped it to be like this big event, but I'm like, look at the stadium it's in. Look at the country it's in. In a sense, it was a big event. It looked like a massive event. The place looked fucking gorgeous. Those people spent a lot of money, and that's huge for Saudi Arabia, and they have a network that they can air it on, so why wouldn't they air it in that stadium where it looked great, and they're putting on this show, and they put on some high profile matches. But even I knew going into that technically, and I'm not saying this in a negative way, because house shows are fucking great. I've been to a lot of them and I've enjoyed them because I just enjoy wrestling for what it is. It was a glorified house show.
Yep.
I didn't expect any big surprise or anything massive to happen. And I think people that went in there with the expectation to have something happen, they're all like, oh, it sucked. Like, nothing even happened. Like, it was a whatever show. Like, this and that. I'm like, but that's because it's your perspective of how you see it that way. Like, you expect it to be this way, this and that. Well, at least appreciate that we got a show. Everyone got excited for it. So many people stayed home to watch it. And these guys and girls that work in the WWE flew out to Saudi Arabia on a whole different time zone and a whole different like the whole like the hours of their life totally switched to a whole different set and they came back for Monday and Tuesday for Raw and SmackDown without like missing a beat. They went to Saudi Arabia. They went there for these people. They put the show on the network for us to watch. How can you hate on that? Like,
right, yeah.
Shouldn't you be happy that we even got that? Imagine they just did a show in Saudi Arabia in that stadium and all we got was pictures on WWE.com. Then the fans would be complaining that, well, why didn't they put that on the network? Why didn't we get to watch it? If it was such a cool stadium, that's not. Where do these guys win?
Exactly. Like when they did Starrcade last year.
Yeah.
At the end of the year. You're like, okay, so if honestly, if it was up to me, they would have more house shows on the network. I would love to see more house shows because they're more fun. They're more interactive with the fans.
And these foreign places, they're bringing up cool stuff. Like, people need to understand that there are going to be, if they're going to get events like that, like random events like that, because it was pretty random. And it wasn't random in the sense that they got paid a lot of money to do it. It was a huge deal for them. I mean, it was random for a fact as a fan sitting at home. You're like, oh, WrestleMania just happened. Now we got this other big event happening. Okay, it was random. But it was random at the same time. Like, you got to expect these random events to not really change the course of the current storylines and stuff. Like, they're going to fit in them, but you kind of have them be too random that they don't fit what's actually happening week for week after that, you know? Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how far in advance they knew, and honestly, I enjoyed the show enough to where I don't want to nitpick on it because there's nothing to really nitpick on it. It was a good show overall for me. Like, I saw a lot of people complaining about Brock and Roman, and the funny thing that I find about that is Roman didn't even win. Why are you complaining?
that was the only thing I expected to happen that didn't happen. I'm like, I didn't expect anything major or shocking to happen. Like I said, I thought it was going to be a glorified house show, which it definitely kind of was, but at least we all got to witness it. But at the same time, I'm like, if anything is going to happen, like, there's two things that were guaranteed to happen. Three, okay? Someone was going to win a Royal Rumble with 50 people. That was guaranteed to happen. 2, there was going to be new Raw Tag Team Champions because there weren't any champions at the moment. 3, I thought Roman was going to win. I'm like, they didn't pull the trigger at WrestleMania. They're going to do it at the Greatest Royal Rumble. Now I'm at the point where I'm like, oh, are they ever going to do it? Now, like, I felt like they built Roman up for 3 years since he last fought Brock. You know, he beat Triple H. He did the thing where he beat The Undertaker. Like, I thought they were literally building him up to win the belt at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's what everyone just thought. Like, we're like, oh, Roman's gonna win. Like, this is his moment that they want to give him, so he's the ultimate babyface. And then he didn't. And I'm like, oh, but now it's because they have this random event and they got to do something big in Saudi Arabia. And then once again, that's also the expectation everybody had. They got to do something big. Like, something big has to happen.
I think Brock keeping the title when we all thought he was going to lose it was big.
That was huge. I thought I was there live. You were there live too at WrestleMania. Like,
yeah,
dude, I was like, what? I can't say I was watching the match fully, but when Brock won, I was like, what?
Right? Yeah. To me, like I said, Greatest Royal Rumble was good. You know, there was a lot of negativity from fans about the women wrestlers and something. It's another country, guys. We're not always going to agree. It's not for my personal beliefs. It's not right. You know.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I agree, but
I can't.
Different country, different culture.
Yeah.
You can't go there and tell them what to do.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Well, that's what I saw. I'm like,
hey, we have a women's revolution here in America, and we, just let the women wrestle. So, because the revolution. They'll be like,
yeah. Hey, well, WWE's for hire.
You're a TV show.
Right.
We ain't changing our whole country's policy, and let you come dictate how things happen around here just because you want girls on your TV show to look powerful and empowered. Which I totally agree with. They should be, and it is a great revolution or evolution or whatever they want to call it. In general, it's great for women empowerment. I think I love what's been happening the past couple of years. I'm a huge Sasha Banks mark. I'm a huge Charlotte mark. I love that Natalya got a title run. There's so much about it that I actually love. But at the same time, it's like, if it can't happen, it can't happen. And you can't get mad about every little thing that can't happen. You can't get mad that was a glorified house show. You can't stay grumpy and hold a grudge that Braun Strowman's tag team partner was an 11-year-old kid. Things happen and you move on and you keep enjoying the show because the show must go on.
And the show, at the end of the day, when you consider how much work is put into it, how much TV time, how many house shows they run, you can't, like, you can't expect perfection all the time. Rewatch some of those Raws from the Attitude Era; they were terrible.
I tried watching some of them back now because and that's what I always say about wrestling too, is when you're a kid, you watch wrestling with these like. What's a term they use, like those rose something glasses? I
was gonna say it's almost like beer goggles.
Not beer goggles. There's actually a word, and it's like you watch them with your I don't know gold rose sunglasses or something. I'm gonna Google it after this because I use it a lot, and that's on the tip of my tongue. But you watch it with a different type of view because you're a kid and it's all so real to you and it all looks so cool, and and back then was also a little bit different because it did feel a little bit more real. Now I'll be first to admit that I think it does feel overly scripted now. I don't like the fact that sometimes I watch Raw and it does feel segment to segment to segment. Like, hey, if you see Roman Reigns have his promo on this person at the starting of the show, unless he has a match, that's never going to be visited again throughout the next 3 hours. That's dumb. Like, revisit things. That's the things that I kind of miss from the old days. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, I watch some of those older programs and like we get killer matches on Raw and stuff these days. Like we get some really good pay-per-view quality matches on Raw and SmackDown these days. If you watch the Attitude Era Raws, no.
No.
The matches was so bad. And I'm like, not so bad. I want to dig on it. Like, they were so bad. They did the best they could with the time that was given to them. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, like if you look at some of the run sheets from those old Raws, and they were like, okay, well, there was 18 matches plus a 35-minute Stone Cold promo, all of which was entertaining as hell. But you're like, these. So you had Road Dogg versus Val Venus, and that was 1:45, and then you had Big Boss Man versus Test, and that was 47 seconds, and you're like, all these matches, like they were so quick.
Yeah, and it's crazy because I guess at that time that's the way society was fast paced. Hit him with this, what's next?
Yeah.
We're now like like now it's society actually like I think they actually appreciate the wrestling aspect of wrestling these days. I'm still a big storyline character promo guy. Like I like to be invested in the characters and promos because I feel like if I'm invested in the characters, the promos, and the people wrestling, the story behind it, I'm more invested in the match. But we do live in a generation where I can say this from what I've seen on Instagram, the people that I follow and the people that follow me, like a lot of people really do love the wrestling aspect of wrestling. They love, you know, the long matches where it looks like it's going for like a marathon, and you know, and these guys are killing each other, but they're trying to one up each other. Like people actually enjoy the wrestling, so I feel like we get a lot of that today. I just also think we're back to a point where people's attention spans have shrunk, so you kind of do need a little bit of both, and you also need to keep people entertained by the stories they're telling with the characters and promos. There is some stuff that could be better. I get that, but what we're trying to say is like, see how I'm being negative about it, but I'm saying this by also saying that I won't dislike or stop watching the product, and that's what this podcast is going to be about. We're not going to sit here and be like, well, this sucks, and you know, and in New Japan they do this, and you know, Ring of Honor they're doing that, and I'm a hardcore WWE guy, and I'll admit that right now. I don't have the time to watch everything. I love Ring of Honor. I watch New Japan when, you know, Wrestle Kingdom or something big's going on and I want to go check it out. I'm subscribed to New Japan World, and I'll go jump on there and I'll go check it out. But I'm a WWE guy through and through. Like I'm gonna, you know, watch Raw and SmackDown and the pay-per-views, and it's hard for me to sit there and be like, you know, I appreciate what the guys and the girls do, man. They wrestle in that company.
Yeah, they work their asses off. Everybody from ring crew to Vince McMahon.
Yeah, and I've had the pleasure to get to talk to a lot of guys that work in the company, whether it's behind the scenes, whether they're producers or whatever for the WWE, or whether listen to my interview with Sheamus, and he tells you about just his trip from wherever he came from to Vancouver, and I'm like, holy crap, like that's their lifestyle, man. Like it's not, as much as you want to hate on the product and the creativeness of what's going on and stuff and whatever, just always go back and think about like, oh, these are actual guys. Of course they're making a living and this is their career and they're getting paid to do it. But it's hard, man. It's not easy. So it's so hard for me to hate on it ever fully.
Yeah, no, and it's not, you know, you're not hating on it. I'm not hating on it. I mean, we're just that is what, you're not always going to like everything, and that's just life in general, man. It's not even just, you know, about wrestling, but people for some reason are very much more harsh on wrestling than they are on other stuff. You watch a bad hockey game, I don't see 45,000 comments going, well, that game sucked, this sucked, that's bad, you know what I mean? So you're like, oh, come on guys, chill.
Yeah, no, and I totally agree, and I think we're gonna do some cool stuff here. I think some of the ideas I threw out before, like doing them out, and then I want you guys to talk. My biggest thing, and I do this on my page all the time. My biggest thing is, like I always ask you guys questions because I want you guys to talk. I want you to debate with each other. I want to create conversation about wrestling, so the conversation continues. So when we do things like a Mount Rushmore episode, or who's the GOAT, or is it sports, is it entertainment, Raw or SmackDown, what have we been enjoying more? Why? Yeah. When we do stuff like that, maybe we'll kick off every show talking about that. We'll talk about what happened on Raw, what happened on SmackDown, what show did we enjoy more, and why. And we'll have different opinions. And the biggest thing I preach on my page is, you know, debate, argue about wrestling. Don't argue about other stuff. Argue about wrestling. But always agree to disagree, because, you know, you're not always going to have the same opinions. And I think this is going to be fun. I know I rambled on a lot about different things today, but when we have more of a set, like what we're talking about, it's going to be something cool, I think. And this is just, you know,
this is just the first episode, man. This is we're not even scripted right now. Like, this is a shoot.
He wrote some notes. I don't even know if we're going by them. I start talking about the greatest Royal Rumble at some point, and we start talking about the Attitude Era. But it's gonna be good, man.
It's gonna be a lot of fun.
I think will be a different alternative from the actual people in the business talking about wrestling, because there's also, you know, the guys that are in the business that talk about wrestling, they always have this thing of like, well, you know, they weren't there. Oh yeah, someone who's never been a part of the wrestling business is giving their opinion. I've heard Eric Bischoff say it. I've heard Bruce Pritchard say it. I've heard all people be like, oh, armchair quarterbacking or whatever. Listen, we're gonna armchair quarterback the fuck out of professional wrestling, but we're doing it because all of you do it, and we're doing it together because we got that square circle DNA, and maybe maybe, just maybe, our voices will be heard. So
That's right. Yeah, man. So like hit the subscribe button, leave us reviews. That's how we get found on iTunes. You got to leave us reviews. We are at SCDNA Show on every single social media platform. Even Twitch. I don't know why we have a Twitch account, but we have a Twitch account.
How maybe we'll start live streaming some bonus episodes on Twitch.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's just like the Wrestling Classic page. We only get as popular as you guys let us. So if you follow us, you subscribe, you leave us reviews, you support it as much as we do, and we'll do some cool things, man. I'll find ways to get you guys more involved. I'll just start answering your guys' questions. I'll start taking your guys' questions maybe before shows, and I'll give you guys a shout out on the air, and I'll answer your question. Maybe we'll do some stuff with shirts if maybe we'll drop some merch. And if you guys rock the merch, you'll be on the Wrestling Classic page. Like, whatever I can do to get you guys to want to support, I'm going to try doing it, because you guys supported me with my page. You guys love the clips I was posting. For the longest time, I felt like, they just like the stuff I'm posting. And I know a bunch of other wrestling pages popped up, and I always took pride in the, everyone can post wrestling clips, but you got to have a personality. I didn't take it as seriously until I went to New Orleans this year to WrestleMania, and I met people that genuinely were like, dude, we're excited to meet you. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I've built this connection with people, and I want to continue to build that connection with you guys. And you guys supported me there. If you guys support me here, we can possibly take over this whole wrestling thing, the misfits of the TWC, Justin, and just Danny over here. We can just do some things, so just show us support us. That's right.
It's gonna be a hell of a ride. It really is, man. Bring everybody together. We're gonna make this. We'll be the largest community on the internet, man. Debate, like you said, like Justin was saying, guys. Debate. Argue, compare, contrast.
I want to be able to talk on here about something, go on my page, drop posts like, hey, if you listen to the podcast, who do you think, blah, blah, blah. And then I want people to start arguing. And I know this happens all the time. People are like, oh, but what do you think? And I'm going to be like, hey, go listen to the podcast. Like,
exactly.
I had that happen to me today in a live stream. Someone's like, yo, what are your backlash predictions? I'm like, hey, Go check out the wrestlingclassic.com, because that's where they are. Come on, guys. I know Instagram's my bread and butter. That's why I started. That's what Justin became Justin. That's what the Wrestling Classic made me important, But it's time to take over the rest of the platforms, do my best to interact with you guys on more things, such as podcasting and the website and whatever else I want to do. Like, we're gonna grow this little baby family, and we're gonna be a bunch of true babies, and we're gonna be a little cult. We're gonna be the cult of the Wrestling Classic. You get to know Justin, the cult leader, and his homeboy just Danny, and we're gonna stir some shit up with professional wrestling. We're gonna make it cool again. We're gonna make the Squared Circle DNA come sweat out of your pores, because we can do that.
That's right. You're gonna wear wrestling shirts and you're gonna be proud of it. Man, like you were saying, man, it's gonna be really good. I'm excited for it. You guys should be excited for it. I can see Justin's face. He's excited for it.
We're gonna get some cool people on the team, man. If I've been able to swing some random cool interviews for YouTube and and then all that's gonna be the same, guys. Like, the Instagram page is not going to change whatsoever, the Wrestling Classic one. But go follow Squared Circle DNA's Instagram page, which is SCDNA Show on Instagram. SCDNA Show on Instagram.
You'll get it. Don't worry.
Not the Stone Cold Steve Austin show, not the SCSA show, the SCDNA show on Instagram, and I'm gonna start popping some stuff on there. Maybe the next live stream I'll do off there.
Yeah, we could do the split screen. We could start doing live shows. You guys can ask questions. Man, we're gonna be so interactive with the fans. It's gonna be a hell of a time, man.
And that's the biggest thing. We're gonna be super interactive.
That's the whole goal. We want to be interactive because we want you to be interactive. We want everybody. We want to grow this community. We want to have fun with you guys. We want you guys to have fun with us.
And let us know what you want to do. Hey, maybe if you buy a shirt, we'll call you and you can be on the show. We'll call you while we're on the air and we'll ask your opinion about what we're talking about that week.
Yeah,
Think about that.
Yeah, we'll actually call you, not like Bruce.
Yeah, we'll call you on the air. We'll have you a part of the show.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if we're pandering to the fans already because we just started this thing, but I'm trying to get you guys to support, just so you guys support the page, because I want this to be a thing that a year from now we're like, damn, like, that was a good idea.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And there's some opportunities there. So if you guys support, the opportunities become more possible. And that's a win for all of us, because when I win, we all win, because we're all in this together.
As a big united family.
It's a cult. It's a cult, baby. I'm stealing that from Crystal Leia. This is a wrestling cult, though.
It's true.
Square Circle DNA.
I'm excited, man. I really am.
Yeah, I think this will be good. Yeah, so this one is a little wild. I get that. I understand we're all over the place. We have a set topic.
We have 4 bullet points on our script, guys.
What was the fourth? Oh,
the
22 years ago today.
16 years ago today. WWE got the F out. They lost the lawsuit.
We're bringing the F back, mother effers.
That's right.
Squirrel Deer Circle DNA. When we brought the F back. That's what's happening here. We didn't talk about anything in general, but everything in specific. That's wrong. I did the opposite way, but the first time I did the right way. So if you got to go listen to the beginning to get the end, but if you made it this far, I dig it. But
yeah, if you will,
if you will. But yeah, I think that was I don't know, man. It took me a while to stop saying WWF. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I still slip every now and then.
I love it when you meet someone that doesn't watch wrestling anymore.
I used to call
or like just knows about it. They're like, oh yeah, do you still watch that WWF thing? Or like, oh, you watch wrestling? Is that like that WWF stuff? And I'm like, yeah, it's like that. The Panda Bears. It's totally like that,
right?
Yeah, they're totally saving. You know, I'm a jerk sometimes to random people, but just to like make myself laugh inside. Like I don't do it to be like a mean-spirited person. I do it because I find humor in dumb things. So I'll be like, because I'm like, oh, it's like that WWF stuff. Yeah, man. I'm like the saving the animals, and the people look so confused. And I'm like, yeah, because it's not like that. It's not. It's just it's not even called that no more. But I get it. It took me a really long time to stop saying WWF myself.
I found myself still saying it when I talk about older stuff.
Like I sometimes when I put a post, when it's like an old school post in the 80s, I sometimes have a like debate with myself. I'm like in the caption, like, should I write WWE Championship or should I write WWF Championship?
Yeah. It's I'm the same way, and I always, every time you post a video, I always read the caption.
I appreciate it
for that particular reason, though. Like above all else, like I'm always like, what is Justin? Oh yeah, okay, WWF, okay, cool.
This week it's a WWE. Last week it's a WWF. There's also like a really cool thing about that though, like that 16 years ago that they got rid of the F, like they got the F out. There's something really cool about that because I kind of really feel like that was the point where it's like, oh, this is the end of like the Attitude Era. I feel like it kind of happened at the same time.
Yeah, you're right. I mean,
I always, my opinion, my humble opinion, the official end of the Attitude Era, the official like sayonara goodbye was WrestleMania 19.
Yeah.
I think that was the transition WrestleMania. That was like, hey, this is the Ruthless Aggression era. Brock Lesnar, Kurt Angle, Shawn Michaels, Christian, you know. But it was also the, hey, say goodbye to Austin versus The Rock.
Yeah.
WrestleMania 19 was so cool in so many. Well, that's the whole episode right there. In so many different ways, because it's also like, hey, goodbye to the Attitude Era. Hey, let's revisit what made WrestleMania and, you know, the Rock and Wrestling with Hogan versus McMahon and the Piper and thing. And then it's like, oh, but this is a new era beginning. Look at you know, Brock Lesnar stand tall at the end of the show. He's the new guy. It was such a weird WrestleMania.
It was. The WrestleMania was all over the place like we are.
That's true. It's true. But it won't be like this every week. It won't be like this every week.
No, we're actually going to be, yeah.
But when do you think the end of the Attitude Era was for you? Some people say it's when WCW was bought.
No, because that was too early. For me, I would say probably WrestleMania 18 was the
Think
last.
so?
Yeah, because that's like. Yeah, because Hogan essentially turned face after that when they brought the NWO in. Yeah, I kind of that to me that was really
Were they already WWE by WrestleMania 18 though?
no,
Did they already get the F out?
no.
It was like June of 2002, wasn't it? Was it June?
It was May 5th.
Oh,
That's why it's 16 years.
Botch.
Hey, Jack, if you're listening over there at VPX, we need to get Justin some bangs up to Vancouver, okay?
Oh my god. Wait, what are we talking about again? I think my old age and my two gray hairs in my beard. I'm losing it, man. I'm losing it. So in May 2002, they got the F out. May 5th today, 16 years ago today. Let's just clarify that happened today. They got the F out, and yeah, that was the end of the Attitude Era for me.
There you go.
Damn.
This is it, guys. This is what we're doing. This is.
I've already watched wrestling for like all my life. I just don't know. And we only just talked about this because it happened today. I don't know. Like, when did it happen? June?
This is the best part. I love it.
This guy's off the rails. He really doesn't know what's going on.
Absolutely.
Oh, man. The Attitude Era, good times. Everyone loves that era. Everyone's obsessed with it. It's always considered the best era. It is, and entertainment-wise, fuck yeah. Athleticism-wise, hell no.
No. I mean, yeah. It was all storyline and characters in the Attitude Era.
It was all entertainment. And nowadays, it's a lot more. I think it's a lot more athleticism and putting on amazing matches, which I appreciate too. I just wish I could find the perfect balance, baby.
I was just gonna mention Adam Cole. It's too funny.
He's got the good balance, man. He knows how to tell a story, and he has some good matches. You know,
It's very true.
NXT, man. That's NXT. NXT is its own beast, man.
It really is. I saw that they're gonna try to expand NXT, which is pretty sweet. We could talk. Man, we have so much different stuff to talk about. I don't want to make those 3-hour Edge something to wrestle with podcasts where you're like, this podcast is 4 hours. Like the Goldust one was what, 5 hours? Yeah, I don't want.
You know what the worst thing about it is, and once again, we don't have that drawing power. Like, we're not Bruce Pritchard. We don't have the inside scoop, so we can't do that anyways. But
yeah,
I listen to them. I listen to all 5 hours.
Absolutely.
But it's we ain't gonna do that because we want you guys to we want to just stir the pot and then get everyone talking and then come back the next week and stir the pot again, man. I want people to be talking about wrestling. I want people to appreciate wrestling. I want wrestling fans to come out the closet, man. Come out the closet as a wrestling fan. I want all you closeted wrestling fans and you former fans to be like, yo, yeah, I used to watch that shit and these guys got a point.
Yeah,
it ain't that bad. It ain't that bad.
So I've got a question for all of you. What are we calling our people? We can't call them misfits. That's your thing. I'm just Danny. You're
they're the just Danians. I don't know.
The chromosomes of our DNA. No, that sounds creepy.
They're the TNA of DNA or something. Oh, that was Matt Morgan, right? The DNA of TNA.
Right. Well, so
yeah, he's really the DNA of titties and ass. I mean, but
so everybody always has a little debate on when they think the Attitude Era was started, because there was no like official start date. Yeah, we got commercials and that kind of stuff, but nobody knows when the actual first day of the Attitude Era was started. I'm not gonna talk about it now, and I don't want you to talk about it now either. I want all of you guys to comment and tell me when you think the Attitude Era started and why.
I'm going to put a post on SCDNA, the SC. I said it, and then you laughed, and then it made me feel like I fucked it up. The SCDNA Show Instagram page. I'm gonna ask you guys when you guys thought the Attitude Era started, right? I'm going to tell you guys to go to follow that page on my story and answer that question, because next week we will have our own debate about when the Attitude Era actually started. That'll be next week's episode. We talked about so many things to talk about, but I think that's a good first solid episode.
Yeah, why not? Everybody likes the Attitude Era to talk about. We always talk about it.
And a lot of my followers are huge Attitude Era fans, and they can join the debate, man. They can state their claim, and they can come jump on, listen to the podcast, and afterwards we can ask them what they think.
We can all be master debaters together.
And that's what we're gonna get, guys. We're gonna have conversations. We have real life fan to fan conversations about things. We're not gonna sit here and review every show. I think we'll spend some time at the beginning of each show to talk about Raw, SmackDown, and the things that are happening on television, and huge things like, how cool it is that, Chris Jericho showed up in New Japan Pro Wrestling this week to attack Naito, literally weeks after he was a part of the Greatest Royal Rumble. And that throwback to January where he was at Wrestle Kingdom, and then just a couple of weeks later he was on Raw 25. The fact that Jericho can do that, the fact that he's still so good at keeping things a secret so they can be a surprise, the fact that Dave Meltzer and none of these other jabronis can talk about it ahead of time. And don't get me wrong, I don't hate Dave Meltzer. I just hate the people that follow Dave Meltzer, if that makes sense.
Blindly follow him, yeah.
Yeah, like the hardcore, like Dave Meltzer said, dude, that's cool, whatever, man. Like, does what he does. He's made a lot of money off it. He's good at it. As growing up, when I got access to the internet, I read about a lot of his stuff, and my attitude changed towards wrestling where I'm like, the less I know, the more I enjoy it. So I stopped trying to read dirt sheets, and I stopped trying to read those Observer newsletters and stuff, because I'm like, the less I know, the more I'll enjoy it. Instagram still messes it up for me, but the less I know, the more I enjoy it. And we're not gonna sit here and we're not gonna go into any of that stuff. We'll talk about what's happening. We'll talk about the cool stuff. We'll talk about stuff like Chris Jericho doing, which is super cool. But then we'll go into debates and conversations that will stir the pot.
That's right.
Get that DNA flowing.
DNA
I don't know why I think DNA is like blood all of a sudden, but it's not.
No, not really. Kind of.
What's in your blood? Is it in your blood? Can you get a DNA sample from blood?
Yeah.
Get a blood sample from blood.
Ooh. That's a whole other show, but not our show.
Go follow us at the Dr. CDN.
Go do yourself a favor. Follow the Dr. Oz podcast,
and you'll see us there, and we'll talk about what DNA really is. But yeah, guys, please, check it out.
That's right. SCDNA show, Facebook. We even have a Snapchat page. I don't know if you even know that.
I don't know
but
that.
We do. Dude, we got Snapchat, Instagram, Twitch, Facebook, iTunes, SoundCloud. We're everywhere. Like literally, YouTube.
And when this is up, man, I want feedback's always great. Maybe we'll use Twitter for feedback. You guys can tweet us. And we'll, take you guys' feedback after the first. I wouldn't consider this like the first episode. This is the introduction. This is the we're coming for you, and
we're here.
We're here. This is gonna be a thing. It's not just something I posted one day and said we're gonna do, and then he's not gonna do it. No, it's gonna happen, man. Danny's on my ass when I slip up and go into classic Justin mode and disappear for a bit. Ask all my friends. It happens.
Me? No.
I just I'm gonna do this shit. It's not gonna happen today. Just Danny's on that, so we're good there. And it was always hard trying to do it by myself, so it's good to have someone that is just as passionate about professional wrestling, someone that has great opinions, someone that's watched just as long, someone that shares all the same opinions about the business that I do, which makes it more enjoyable. I would hate to do this with someone that's just trashing it the whole time or doesn't get it.
I agree. I agree. I've done that before.
And how did that work? Tell us that story.
We got to 3 million downloads on iTunes, so I guess we did pretty well. But here I am.
How did it end?
He had a baby. Well, he didn't. His wife had a baby, And then
So he's not like The Rock. He wasn't naked in the bed holding a baby. Like he just had the baby.
no, and the baby did not oddly look like Kevin Hart.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, fair enough. Because I'm like, I don't know, man. That could be life changing. That could make you stop your podcast. If I had a baby and I'm a dude and I look like Kevin Hart and my nickname was The Rock, I think I'd just be like, you know what, fuck the podcast. So it's over.
Right, yeah, I don't even have time for a podcast. I'm filming a movie.
Yeah, with my baby. I don't know how that happened. It just happened to be that my baby was a huge movie star. But I don't know what's going on. I don't know. But this is you know.
I hope you guys are having fun listening to this as much as we're having fun recording.
Are they
this.
even still here? Is the question.
They're here. Because they're like, how much longer can these guys just ramble? And if you want the honest answer, it could be a hell of a lot longer.
And I'm holding back here. This is me holding back, and I've been talking a lot.
Just so you guys know, the first time Justin and I were like running through this show, we were on Skype for 4 hours and 45 minutes. I didn't go to sleep until 5 a.m, guys.
And to even further credit the fact that we could talk forever and I can talk forever is when I mentioned that, hey, I mentioned to my buddy Ryan, aka The Struggles, he has his own podcast called the Spotlight Series, which I was there for when it first started and kicked off. I remember him doing it, and he's done wonderful for himself. He's been putting out some of the most badass limited time t-shirts for wrestlers that you wouldn't expect, like Ultimo Dragon and Great Muta, guys that don't have the best t-shirts. He's been dropping them for them. Cheap plug for Ryan because you're my boy. But I remember when I told Ryan, I'm like, hey, I think I'm gonna do this podcast thing. And at this point, I think Ryan's heard me say this probably like 5 times in the last like 2 years. Like, hey, I think I'm gonna start this podcasting. And he's like, okay, Justin, you do the podcasting. And he's always supporting me for whatever I do. You know, he always gives me a kick in the ass too. But he's like, that's dope, dude. Do the podcast. Just, you know, don't make it like 3 hours long, because when I first started doing podcasts and I'd have guests on there, they'd end up being really long, and we just roll with it. And that's not going to be the case here.
No, we gotta be short, sweet, to the point, because I think the brunt and the bulk of our stuff is gonna be our social media interaction with you guys.
Yeah, and it's just coming on here and talking about it, you know, 15, 20 minutes about, I don't know, what happened in the week of wrestling. We'll do a quick catch up. And then, you know, if things go as planned and this does get really popular, and and let's be honest here, we don't do things for free. Nobody likes doing things for free. So if we can somehow manage to start making some money off this at some point, then maybe we'll do 2 shows. Maybe we'll do a whole separate thing where we review what's going on in wrestling and then continue the debates and stuff. But keep it short, sweet, and simple. We'll get the ball rolling, and we'll be making nothing unless you guys support us. So subscribe, follow the page. You can find me at The Wrestling Classic. You can find me at the SCDNA Show on Instagram. You can find me on my website to read all my predictions and reviews for all the pay-per-view events and SmackDown I do. And my good buddy Paul Elliott does a Raw review every week, and he does a really good job at it. So if you haven't checked it out, go check out thewrestlingclassic.com. You can find me on Pro Wrestling Tees, where you can buy my shirts, but I'm going to be opening a whole separate store now. So yeah, anything Wrestling Classic on it, that's Justin, that's me, that's my stuff. That's where you can find a lot of my opinions and my stuff. For Danny,
Real Danny B, everywhere. That's why I'm there. Like I tried to keep something, you know, and this is back when Twitter, I've had this name forever. That's when Twitter was getting popular, and I joined Twitter like, Jesus Christ, like 8 years ago now, I guess. Holy crap.
Yeah.
So I'm real Danny B everywhere. I guess you can call me that instead of just Danny.
The real Danny B, man. Danny B in the house. I was gonna call him Danny B at first, and he didn't roll with it, so he just became just Danny. But
I have that recorded. That could be an outtake.
Yeah, fair enough. But just honestly, show some support. You guys know I'm always trying to answer you guys' questions. I read all your comments. So like, you guys will be involved in this podcast more than you think. If you don't think I'm being serious, like, I will specifically call you out on someone's comment on the air. If I don't call you out on the page, because I'm pretty nice on the page majority of the time, I do clap back sometimes, but I'll be clapping back on here a lot.
That's
And I'll
right.
be taking people's comments and being like, well, this guy said this, and well, guess what, dude? That's the stupidest shit I've heard in my life. Or that's the greatest shit I've heard in my life. But the only way you're gonna find out is if you listen.
That's right. You got to listen.
This is where you get. That's the Wrestling Classic. This is where you get Justin. This
That's
is where you
right.
get the guy behind the Wrestling Classic, and this is where you hear me say, "Hey, you's an idiot," or you's a real fan. You got that shit down.
Be prepared, guys.
Maybe we should do shitty social media comment of the week at the end of every show.
We could do that. It's like kind of like the mean tweets that Jimmy Kimmel does.
Yeah, and I pick one shitty comment and we dissect it.
Yeah.
Why is this comment dumb? I'll tell you why.
That's a terrible award to win, but somebody's gonna gun for it. I'm telling you.
Oh, that's the bad part now, because now everyone's gonna try to drop a stupid ass comment just so we talk about it. But hell, if it gets you to listen to the show, that's what we're doing now, because that's what we're doing. I'm gonna stop talking because I talked the majority this time, dude. You gotta start jumping in there and cutting me off and shit.
Oh, you're done already. Anyway, sorry, but no, dude, I'm telling. This is dumbass of the week. Like we're gonna have all kind of good stuff here. This will be a lot of fun. I'm telling you guys. Subscribe to us. Follow us on Instagram. Follow Justin at the Wrestling Classic. Follow me at Real Danny B. Follow Justin more because he posts more wrestling stuff. I just post a lot of pictures of my fiance now. I'm trying to get her sponsored by somebody, anybody.
Get her sponsored,
Hi, Celeste.
guys.
He's
He's just cheap plugging his wife. It's all good.
yeah, why not? Mick Foley could cheap plug all the time. What the hell? But you know, I think I've spoken my piece on the first introduction. People know me from After Raw Radio. That's where most people have probably recognized my voice. Your voice, maybe not so much if they don't. But you've done some good interviews. I don't know.
I talked a lot of shit in my story. I've done some interviews. That's true. My voice is my opinions, I think, though, and people know that I genuinely love this business, and that I genuinely want everyone else to appreciate. I don't expect everyone to watch it. I don't expect everyone to be big as fans as I am, but appreciate it. I want it to be appreciated as any other form of sports entertainment on television, whether it's football, hockey, whether it's Star Wars or the Avengers. Fake. Hello, guys. Not real. Appreciated, though. So
right. Yeah. I mean, you could make that same argument about professional sports, guys.
Very athletic, super cool. Not as entertaining, guys. Wrestling's entertaining. So
Right. It's true. We just want you to appreciate it. You ain't gotta like wrestling, man. Just appreciate it for what it is.
If I can make more people be like, you know what? I get it now. That's a win for me, man. I get the appeal.
I'm with you on that.
And I think that should be it for today, man. I think this is a long enough introduction.
This
Next
definitely
week,
is.
Yeah. Next week, I'm going to drop it, dude. And that's it. When did the Attitude Era really start? That's what we're going to talk about.
Yeah. When do you think it did and why? That's it. Pretty simple.
And then we'll tell you what we think and why. And maybe some of your guys' opinions will sway our opinions, because that happens. You read something and it changes your mind a little bit. It opens up a door to a whole new idea that you would have never thought about. And yeah, we'll talk about it.
Yeah. Let's bow tie this thing up here. Put a ribbon on it. I think I think this was good. I don't know. That's what people always say when they try to wrap it up. Let's put a ribbon on it. Wrap that shit up, bro. But you know what?
If some dude came up to me and like, wrap that shit up, bro, I'd be like, hey.
Whoa.
Hey.
Would you too sweet him if you did that?
I feel like you wrap that shit up, and I'm out of here.
I love
it. But no, I love you all, man. I love everybody. I love everything. I love the world, and I love wrestling. So Squared Circle DNA, man. It's in me. It's gonna be on all of you, and if it is, then you'll listen, and we'll have some fun. You dig?
That's right. Absolutely. We will see you next week, guys.
The classic is out. Ayo. Ooh, yeah.